There comes a time in your life, perhaps as you're nearing 70, or maybe you've already crossed that milestone, when you start to look back. You look back not with regret, but with a certain kind of wisdom. And you think about all the things you've learned, the hard lessons, and the beautiful truths. I'm at an age now where I've learned an uncomfortable truth. The advice we received about growing older was incomplete. We were told to slow down, to take it easy, to accept certain declines as inevitable. But the truth is, much of what we accept as a normal part of aging is actually the result of overlooked issues, silent problems that quietly steal our strength, our clarity, and our independence. The reality is that our bodies are sending us warning signs, but we've been taught to ignore them, to dismiss them as just getting older. This isn't just about aches and pains. This is about the hidden dangers that can lead to a sudden, devastating decline. A fall that could have been prevented. A diagnosis that comes far too late. A loss of independence that feels like a betrayal of the life you worked so hard to build. This could be you. It could be your spouse, your friend, your sibling. The stakes are not just about living longer, but living better, with dignity and control, before it's too late. That's why I'm here today. I want to share with you the things no one tells you. The crucial health truths that I wish someone had told me before I turned 70. These aren't just theories. These are practical, life-saving insights into what is really happening inside your body and what you can do about it. This is your guide to protecting your health, reclaiming your vitality, and changing the narrative of your later years. And I need you to stay with me until the very end, because the seventh and final truth we will discuss is arguably the most overlooked and yet one of the most critical for preventing a sudden, life-altering event that is far too common in our age group. It's a blind spot for millions, but it won't be for you. Now, it's important to state that while the information we'll discuss is based on extensive research and medical observation, it is for educational purposes. You should always consult with your personal healthcare providers before making any significant changes to your health regimen. They know your specific situation best. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the number one health truth that is silently affecting millions of us. It's the quiet epidemic of muscle loss. We've all felt it, a little less strength opening a jar, a bit more effort getting out of a chair. We call it feeling weaker. But the medical world has a name for it, sarcopenia. And what they don't tell you is that this isn't just about being unable to lift heavy things. Medical research indicates that the amount of muscle mass you carry after the age of 65 is one of the most significant predictors of how long and how well you will live. It's a hidden danger because it happens so gradually. It's a slow, creeping thief that steals your stability, your metabolism, and your resilience, leaving you vulnerable to falls, illness, and a prolonged recovery from any health setback. Your muscles are not just for movement. They are your body's protein reservoir, your metabolic engine, and a key component of your immune system. When they waste away, your entire system becomes fragile. Take the story of Robert, a 74-year-old retired history teacher. Robert had always been a man who took pride in his self-sufficiency. He maintained his own garden, fixed leaky faucets, and enjoyed long walks with his golden retriever, Buddy. But over a few years, things began to change. He started asking his son to help with the heavier bags of soil. He found himself choosing the armchair closest to the door, subconsciously aware of the effort it took to stand up. The turning point came on a perfectly ordinary Tuesday. He was walking Buddy when the dog tugged unexpectedly at the leash. A few years prior, Robert would have braced himself without a thought. But this time, his legs felt like they weren't his own. He stumbled, catching himself on a fence, his heart hammering against his ribs. It wasn't the stumble that scared him. It was the profound, shocking feeling of weakness, the lack of an automatic, stabilizing response from his own body. He didn't realize that the gradual loss of about 1% of his muscle mass every year since he turned 50 had now compounded into a critical state of vulnerability. He was living with sarcopenia, and it had quietly put him on the precipice of a life-changing fall. The consequences of ignoring this are devastating. It begins with a loss of independence, becoming reliant on others for simple tasks. But it escalates. A fall for a young person might mean a bruise. For a senior with sarcopenia, it often means a fractured hip, surgery, and a long, difficult rehabilitation that many never fully recover from. It can be the event that transitions someone from living independently to needing assisted care. Furthermore, with less muscle, your body's metabolism slows to a crawl. This makes it easier to gain weight, particularly dangerous abdominal fat, and significantly increases your risk for type 2 diabetes and heart disease. Your body also loses its primary storage site for amino acids, which are crucial for a robust immune response. This means a simple cold can hit you like a ton of bricks, and the flu could lead to pneumonia and hospitalization. The good news is, you can fight back. It is not too late to rebuild and restore your strength. You have control. Here's what you can do about it. First, the most crucial solution is to embrace resistance training. This doesn't mean you need to become a bodybuilder. It means using your muscles against some form of resistance. The simplest way to start is with your own body weight. Try to do 5 to 10 sit-to-stands from a sturdy kitchen chair without using your hands. Do this several times a day. It directly strengthens the largest muscles in your body, your glutes and quadriceps, which are essential for balance and mobility. A second, powerful solution is to significantly increase your protein intake, especially at breakfast. Many seniors consume most of their protein at dinner, but research has found that spreading it throughout the day is far more effective for muscle synthesis. Instead of a simple piece of toast or a bowl of cereal, try adding 2 eggs, a scoop of protein powder to your oatmeal, or a serving of Greek yogurt. This gives your body the building blocks it needs all day long. A third, often overlooked solution is to focus on your walking speed. The simple act of walking a little faster for short bursts acts as a form of resistance and engages more muscle fibers. On your next walk, try walking at your normal pace for 5 minutes. Then push yourself to walk briskly, as if you're a little late for an appointment, for 1 minute. Repeat this cycle several times. It's a small change that makes a big difference in challenging your muscles and cardiovascular system. Now that we understand the importance of our physical foundation, let's move on to the second truth, which is just as critical, but even more subtle. It's what I call the great dehydration deception. We often think of dehydration as something that happens on a hot day after strenuous exercise, causing extreme thirst and dizziness. But what they don't tell you is that for older adults, the most dangerous form of dehydration is chronic and low-grade. It's a state of being just 1 or 2% below your optimal fluid level, day in and day out. The problem is that our sense of thirst diminishes significantly as we age. We can be dehydrated and not even feel it. The reality is that the symptoms of this chronic dehydration are insidious and often misdiagnosed. It quietly mimics the symptoms of other serious conditions, leading to unnecessary worry, expensive medical tests, and even incorrect prescriptions. Let's look at someone like Eleanor, an 81-year-old widow who lived alone and cherished her sharp mind. She was an avid bridge player and prided herself on her vocabulary. One afternoon, during a game with her friends, she couldn't recall a simple word. Then it happened again. She started feeling a persistent, dull headache and a general sense of fatigue she chalked up to old age. Her daughter, visiting one weekend, became concerned. Eleanor seemed more confused than usual. Her skin looked dry and papery, and she complained of being dizzy when she stood up. Fearing the onset of dementia or a mini-stroke, her daughter rushed her to the doctor. They ran a battery of tests, from cognitive assessments to blood work. Eleanor was terrified, imagining a future where her mind, her most prized possession, would fail her. The turning point came when a sharp young doctor, after reviewing all the negative test results, asked a simple question. Eleanor, how much water do you actually drink in a day? Eleanor, like many of her generation, was not a water drinker. She had a cup of coffee in the morning, a small glass of juice with lunch, and maybe a cup of tea in the afternoon. She was consuming less than half the fluid her body needed. She wasn't developing dementia. She was severely, chronically dehydrated. The confusion, the headaches, the dizziness, they were all warning signs her brain was sending, starved of the water it needed to function. The consequences of overlooking this are profound and far-reaching. Chronic dehydration is a leading cause of hospitalization for people over 65. It can cause urinary tract infections, which in older adults can present as sudden, severe confusion, often mistaken for delirium or dementia. It leads to kidney stones and can put a tremendous strain on your kidneys, potentially leading to long-term damage. It causes constipation, a common and miserable complaint that can lead to more serious issues like impaction. Critically, Dehydration thickens your blood, making your heart work harder to pump it through your body. This increases the risk of blood clots, which can lead to a stroke or pulmonary embolism. The fatigue and dizziness it causes are not just unpleasant. They are major risk factors for falls. Your brain is approximately 75% water. When it's dehydrated, cognitive function, short-term memory, and focus are all significantly impaired. You're not losing your mind. You might just be thirsty. Fortunately, this is one of the easiest health truths to fix. Here are 3 simple changes you can make today. The first solution is to stop relying on thirst. You must be proactive. Get a dedicated water bottle or pitcher and make it your goal to finish it by the end of the day. A common recommendation is about 8 8-ounce glasses, but a simpler rule is to drink enough so that your urine is a pale, straw-like color. Dark yellow is a clear sign you need more fluid. The second solution is to eat your water. Many fruits and vegetables have very high water content and can contribute significantly to your hydration. Cucumbers, celery, watermelon, strawberries, and cantaloupe are all excellent choices. Adding a large salad to your lunch or having a bowl of melon for a snack is an easy and delicious way to boost your fluid intake. The third solution, and this is especially important, is to create a hydration ritual. Tie your water consumption to an existing habit. For example, drink a full glass of water right after you brush your teeth in the morning. Drink another full glass before you sit down for lunch. Drink one more while the evening news is on. By linking drinking water to activities you already do, you remove the need to remember. It becomes automatic. This simple habit can dramatically improve your energy levels, mental clarity, and overall health. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. Your engagement really helps us understand what resonates with you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. The third health truth is one that many people are living with, but few truly understand the full scope of the danger. It's the hidden risk of normal medications, a phenomenon known as polypharmacy. As we get older, it's common to accumulate prescriptions. One for blood pressure, another for cholesterol, maybe one for arthritis, and another for sleep. Each one is prescribed by a well-meaning doctor for a specific issue. But what they don't always tell you is how these drugs interact with each other and with our aging bodies. The problem is that our bodies, particularly our liver and kidneys which process these medications, don't work as efficiently as they did when we were 40. This can cause drugs to stay in our system longer and at higher concentrations, dramatically increasing the risk of side effects. This can trigger something called a prescribing cascade, a devastating chain reaction where the side effect of one drug is misinterpreted as a new medical condition, leading to another prescription to treat the side effect, which then causes its own side effects. Consider the story of George, a 78-year-old retired accountant. George was a man of routine and precision. He took his 7 prescribed pills every morning, all neatly organized in his weekly pill container. He was on a medication for high blood pressure. A common side effect of this particular drug is ankle swelling. George noticed his ankles were puffy, so he went back to his primary care doctor. The doctor, seeing the swelling, diagnosed it as edema and prescribed a diuretic or a water pill. That was the first step in the cascade. The diuretic did its job, but also caused George to lose potassium and become dehydrated, leading to muscle cramps and dizziness. When he stood up, he felt lightheaded. During a follow-up visit, he mentioned the dizziness. Fearing it was an inner ear problem, his doctor prescribed another medication for vertigo. Now George was on 3 drugs, 2 of which were only there to treat the side effects of the first one. The vertigo medication made him feel drowsy and foggy-headed all day. He stopped driving in the afternoons and declined invitations to his grandson's baseball games because he felt too tired and unsteady. George, once a sharp and active man, was becoming a prisoner in his own home, not because of his underlying health conditions, but because of the cascading, unforeseen consequences of his medications. The consequences of unmanaged polypharmacy are shocking. Adverse drug reactions are a leading cause of hospitalization in older adults and are responsible for thousands of deaths every year, many of which could have been prevented. The cognitive side effects are particularly concerning. Many common medications, including certain antihistamines, sleep aids, and bladder control drugs, have anticholinergic properties that can cause confusion, memory loss, and brain fog, symptoms that are almost indistinguishable from the early stages of dementia. This can lead to a devastating misdiagnosis. The increased risk of falls from dizziness, drowsiness, and blurred vision, all common side effects, is enormous. As we discussed with sarcopenia, a fall can be the start of a rapid decline in health and independence. Furthermore, the financial burden of unnecessary prescriptions can be significant, eating into a fixed retirement income. But you are not powerless in this situation. You can become the CEO of your own health team. Here are the essential actions you must take. The first and most important solution is to schedule a dedicated medication review appointment with your primary doctor or a pharmacist at least once a year. This is not a quick "do you need refills" conversation. This is a brown bag review. You put every single thing you take, prescriptions, over-the-counter pills, vitamins, herbal supplements, into a bag and bring it with you. The goal is to review each one and ask these critical questions. Why am I still taking this? Is this dosage still right for my age? Are there any potential interactions here? Can any of these be deprescribed or reduced? The second solution is to maintain a single, master list of all your medications. Keep it in your wallet and give a copy to a trusted family member. This list should include the drug name, the dosage, why you take it, and which doctor prescribed it. In an emergency, this piece of paper can be life-saving. It prevents a new doctor from prescribing something that could have a dangerous interaction. The third solution is to always question new prescriptions. When a doctor suggests a new drug, adopt an attitude of respectful inquiry. Ask, what is this for? What are the most common side effects? Are there any non-drug alternatives we could try first? For instance, if you're having trouble sleeping, perhaps a change in evening routine, a reduction in caffeine, or a magnesium supplement could be tried before resorting to a powerful sleeping pill with significant side effects. Taking control of your medication regimen is a crucial act of self-preservation. Moving on to our fourth truth, we venture into an area of health that science is only now beginning to fully appreciate, yet it has profound implications for our later years. We're talking about the gut-brain connection. For a long time, we thought of the gut as just a simple digestive tube. But the truth is, your gut is your second brain. It contains hundreds of millions of neurons and is home to trillions of bacteria, your gut microbiome, that collectively act like a massive chemical factory. This factory produces neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, regulates your immune system, and is in constant communication with the brain in your head. What they don't tell you is that the health of this inner ecosystem is directly linked to your mood, your memory, and your risk for neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. An unhealthy gut, a state known as dysbiosis, can lead to chronic, low-grade inflammation throughout your body, including your brain. This neuroinflammation is now recognized by experts as a key driver of cognitive decline. Let's look at the story of Margaret, a 72-year-old former librarian. Margaret had always struggled with a sensitive stomach. She frequently experienced bloating, gas, and indigestion, which she managed with over-the-counter antacids. She considered it a minor annoyance, a part of who she was. Over the past few years, however, she noticed a troubling shift in her mental state. A cloud of low-grade anxiety seemed to follow her everywhere. She felt irritable and her memory, once her professional asset, was becoming unreliable. She would walk into a room and forget why she was there, or struggle to find the right word in conversation. She confided in her doctor, who suggested it was likely just stress and the normal cognitive slips of aging. But Margaret felt something deeper was wrong. The turning point was an article she read about the gut-brain axis. It described how an imbalance in gut bacteria could create inflammation that directly impacts brain function, leading to anxiety and memory problems. For the first time, she saw a potential link between her lifelong digestive issues and her recent mental fog. What she didn't realize was that her diet, high in processed foods and sugar and low in fiber, was feeding the bad bacteria in her gut. This was creating a state of chronic inflammation that was not just upsetting her stomach, but was also inflaming her brain, contributing directly to her anxiety and cognitive struggles. The consequences of ignoring your gut health are not confined to your digestive system. A growing body of research has found a strong correlation between poor gut health and an increased risk of depression and anxiety disorders. The inflammation originating in the gut can compromise the blood-brain barrier, a protective lining that keeps toxins out of the brain. When this barrier becomes leaky, inflammatory molecules can enter the brain, damaging neurons and impairing cognitive function over time. This is a hidden, long-term danger that builds up over decades. Furthermore, about 70% of your immune system is located in your gut. An unhealthy microbiome leads to a dysfunctional immune system, making you more susceptible to infections and potentially increasing your risk for autoimmune diseases. It can also interfere with nutrient absorption, meaning even if you eat a healthy diet, you may not be getting the full benefit of the vitamins and minerals essential for brain and body health. Fortunately, you can actively cultivate a healthy inner garden. The good news is that your microbiome can change remarkably quickly with the right interventions. Here are 3 powerful strategies to restore your gut health. The first and most impactful solution is to become a fiber fanatic. Fiber is the preferred food for your beneficial gut bacteria. The goal is to aim for at least 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day. This means shifting your diet away from white bread, white rice, and sugary snacks, and towards whole foods. Think oatmeal, beans, lentils, berries, apples, broccoli, and nuts. A simple trick is to try and add 1 high-fiber food to every meal. The second solution is to incorporate fermented foods into your diet. These foods are rich in probiotics, the good bacteria themselves. You don't need expensive supplements. Plain yogurt or kefir with live active cultures, sauerkraut, kimchi, or a fermented drink like kombucha are excellent sources. Even a small serving each day can help repopulate your gut with beneficial microbes. The third solution is to limit the gut-destroying culprits. The biggest offenders are sugar, artificial sweeteners, and highly processed foods. These ingredients feed the harmful bacteria and promote inflammation. You don't have to be perfect, but making a conscious effort to reduce your intake of these foods can have a massive positive impact on both your gut and your brain. Taking care of your second brain is one of the most powerful things you can do for your first one. Please comment number 5 below to let me know you're here and still with us on this journey. It's so encouraging to know you're finding this information helpful. Now let's move forward to our 5th truth. This next truth is about a vitamin that you can't get from a pill or from your food, but it is as essential for your survival as any nutrient. I'm talking about the social vitamin, your network of meaningful human connections. We tend to think of loneliness as an emotional problem, a feeling of sadness or emptiness. But what science is now telling us, in no uncertain terms, is that chronic loneliness is a physical health crisis. The reality is that feeling isolated and disconnected from others triggers a physiological stress response in your body, the same fight or flight response you'd have if you were facing a physical threat. When this response is activated day after day, it wreaks havoc on your body. Researchers have found that the health impact of chronic loneliness is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It is more dangerous than obesity. It is a hidden killer that operates behind the closed doors of quiet homes. Take the story of Harold, an 84-year-old widower. After his wife, Eleanor, passed away, Harold's world shrank. His children were busy with their own families and lived in another state. His old friends from work had either moved away or were dealing with their own health issues. Harold spent most of his days alone in the house he and Eleanor had shared for 50 years, watching television and looking at old photographs. He told himself he was fine, that he preferred the quiet. But his body was telling a different story. His blood pressure, which had always been well controlled, started to creep up. He wasn't sleeping well, waking up multiple times during the night with a feeling of anxiety. He lost his appetite and began losing weight. He felt a pervasive sense of fatigue that made even simple chores feel monumental. What Harold didn't realize was that his social isolation was creating a state of chronic inflammation in his body. His immune system was on high alert, constantly scanning for threats that weren't there. This constant state of biological stress was physically damaging his cardiovascular system, disrupting his sleep architecture, and suppressing his immune function, making him profoundly vulnerable to illness. The consequences of ignoring the need for social connection are severe and measurable. Studies have shown that lonely individuals have a significantly higher risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, and stroke. The chronic stress associated with loneliness elevates cortisol levels, which can impair immune function, making you more likely to catch viruses and less responsive to vaccines. Perhaps most shockingly, a large body of research has linked chronic loneliness to a faster rate of cognitive decline and a 40% increased risk of developing dementia. The brain is a social organ. It thrives on interaction, conversation, and shared experience. When starved of that input, it begins to decline. The emotional toll is just as devastating, leading to higher rates of depression and a general loss of will to engage with life, which can create a downward spiral of further isolation and worsening health. The solution is not just to get out more. It requires a proactive and intentional effort to rebuild your social world. Here are 3 actionable strategies. The first solution is to find a third place. This is a term sociologists use for a place that is not your home, the first place, or work, the second place, where you can connect with people. This could be a senior center, a library book club, a church group, a volunteer organization, or even a coffee shop where you become a regular. The key is consistent, low-stakes interaction. The simple act of having a short conversation with the librarian or the barista can make a huge difference. The second solution is to schedule social interaction like a doctor's appointment. Don't wait for the phone to ring. Be the one to initiate. Set a goal to call one friend or family member each day. Schedule a weekly lunch or coffee date. Put it on your calendar and treat it as a non-negotiable commitment to your health. The third, and perhaps most powerful, solution is to find a role with a purpose, especially one that involves intergenerational connection. Volunteering to read to children at a local school, mentoring a young person, or even helping out at an animal shelter gives you a reason to get up and get out, and it provides a profound sense of being needed and valued, which is the ultimate antidote to loneliness. Your health depends on connection as much as it depends on diet and exercise. Now we arrive at the 6th health truth, and it directly challenges one of the most common pieces of advice given to older adults. Take it easy. We've been told that as we age, we should avoid exertion, rest more, and conserve our energy. But the truth is, for most of us, this is dangerously counterproductive advice. The real threat isn't overexertion. It's the slow, creeping danger of a sedentary lifestyle. The myth of taking it easy has led to a culture where we see rest as a virtue and movement as a risk. The reality is that your body is a use-it-or-lose-it system. When you stop moving, your muscles atrophy, your joints stiffen, your circulation slows, and your bones weaken. A sedentary life doesn't preserve your body. It accelerates its decline. I remember my friend Carol, who was 76. After a minor knee surgery, her doctor told her to take it easy for a few weeks. Carol took that advice to heart. She spent most of her days in her favorite recliner, watching TV and having her husband bring her meals. The weeks turned into months. She developed a fear of falling, so she avoided walking as much as possible. Her world shrank to the 4 walls of her living room. Before the surgery, Carol was active. She gardened, played with her grandkids, and went to a weekly water aerobics class. Now, she felt weak and perpetually tired. Her knee had healed, but her body had deconditioned. Trying to walk to the mailbox left her breathless. What she didn't realize was that by taking it easy, she had triggered a cascade of negative effects. Her leg muscles had weakened significantly, making her knee less stable than before. Her cardiovascular fitness had plummeted, which is why she felt so winded. Her prolonged sitting had led to stiff hips and a sore back. She was trying to protect herself, but her inactivity was creating the very fragility she feared. The consequences of embracing a sedentary life are catastrophic. It is a primary risk factor for virtually every major chronic disease: heart disease, type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, and obesity. When you sit for long periods, your circulation slows down, increasing your risk of dangerous blood clots in your legs, deep vein thrombosis. Your bones, which require the stress of weight-bearing activity to maintain their density, begin to weaken, dramatically increasing your risk of osteoporosis and fractures. Your insulin sensitivity plummets, meaning your body struggles to manage blood sugar, paving the way for diabetes. And it's not just your physical health. A sedentary lifestyle is strongly linked to poor mental health, including higher rates of depression and anxiety. Your brain needs the blood flow, oxygen, and growth factors that are stimulated by physical activity to stay healthy. Taking it easy is, in effect, a decision to accelerate the aging process. The solution is not to run a marathon tomorrow. It's about weaving more movement into the fabric of your day. It's about fighting the pull of the recliner. Here are 3 simple, powerful ways to do it. The first solution is to break up your sitting time. The new health mantra is sit less, move more. Set a timer for every 30 minutes. When it goes off, simply stand up. Stretch your arms overhead, walk around the room, do a few squats holding onto a countertop. This simple act interrupts the negative physiological effects of prolonged sitting. The second solution is what I call activity stacking. Look for opportunities to add small bursts of movement to your existing routines. While you're waiting for the kettle to boil, do some calf raises. While you're on the phone, pace around the room instead of sitting. When you're watching television, use the commercial breaks to march in place or do some gentle stretches. These small moments add up to a significant increase in daily activity. The third solution is to find a form of exercise you genuinely enjoy. The best exercise is the one you'll actually do. If you hate the gym, don't force it. Maybe you'd love dancing, tai chi, swimming, gardening, or walking with a friend. The goal is to find joy in movement. This transforms it from a chore you have to do into a part of your life you look forward to, ensuring you'll stick with it for the long haul. Remember, your body was designed to move at every age. And now, we have come to our 7th and final truth. I asked you to stay until the end for this one because it deals with a silent, invisible decline that sets the stage for the single event that seniors fear most, a life-altering fall. We're talking about the balance blind spot. We think of balance as something automatic, but it's actually a complex skill managed by 3 systems working together: your vision, the vestibular system in your inner ear, and proprioception, which is the sense of where your body is in space, fed by nerves in your muscles and joints. What no one tells you is that all 3 of these systems can quietly decline with age. Your vision may worsen, the delicate hair cells in your inner ear can become less sensitive, and the signals from your feet to your brain can slow down. The reality is that your brain can compensate for a decline in 1 or even 2 of these systems for a long time. But you become incredibly vulnerable. You are walking on a tightrope without a safety net. All it takes is one small, unexpected challenge, an uneven patch of pavement, a dimly lit room, a sudden turn, to overwhelm your compromised balance system, leading to a fall. Let's look at the story of Walter, a proud 82-year-old former military man. Walter had always had a commanding presence and a steady gait. He never considered himself wobbly, but he had started making small, unconscious adjustments. He'd place a hand on the wall when walking down the hallway at night. He'd hesitate for a second at the top of the stairs. He found himself looking down at his feet a lot more when he walked. These were the subtle warning signs that his brain was working overtime to keep him upright because his underlying balance systems were failing. The turning point was devastatingly simple. He was getting out of his car in his own garage, a task he'd done 10,000 times. But this time, he turned his head to say goodbye to his daughter while also stepping out onto the concrete. That simple combination, turning his head, challenging his vestibular system, while his vision was momentarily distracted and his foot was landing on an expected surface, was too much. His brain couldn't process the conflicting signals quickly enough. He lost his balance and fell, fracturing his hip. Lying on the cold concrete, waiting for the ambulance, the overwhelming thought in his mind was, how did this happen? I wasn't even doing anything. He didn't realize that his balance blind spot had finally been exposed. His fall wasn't an accident. It was an inevitability waiting to happen. The consequences of a fall are the culmination of all the fears we've discussed. A hip fracture is a life-changing event, often leading to surgery, a loss of independence, and a mortality rate as high as 30% within the first year. But even falls that don't cause serious injury have a sinister effect. They create a powerful fear of falling again. This fear leads to a self-imposed restriction of activity. People stop going for walks. They avoid stairs. They turn down social invitations. This leads directly to the deconditioning, muscle loss, and social isolation we've already talked about, creating a vicious cycle that dramatically increases the risk of another, more serious fall. It can be the single event that erodes confidence and steals a person's vibrant, independent life. But you can train your balance, just like you can train a muscle. It is a skill that can be improved and maintained at any age. Here are 3 essential strategies to protect yourself. The first solution is to practice standing on one leg. This is the gold standard for balance training. Start by holding onto a sturdy countertop or the back of a chair for support. Lift one foot off the ground and try to hold it for 10 seconds. Then switch legs. As you get more confident, try holding on with just one finger, then eventually, try to let go completely. Doing this for just a minute or 2 every day while you brush your teeth or wait for the microwave can dramatically improve your stability. The second solution is to challenge your vestibular system safely. A simple way to do this is with head turns. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart, near a wall for safety. Slowly turn your head to look to the left, then back to center. Then turn to look to the right. Do this 5 times. This helps your brain and inner ear recalibrate and work better together. The third, and critically important, solution is to get your vision and your feet checked regularly. Ensure your eyeglass prescription is up to date. Bifocals or progressive lenses can sometimes distort your vision when looking down at curbs or stairs, so discuss this with your optometrist. Also, see a podiatrist. Foot pain, bunions, or numbness from neuropathy can severely disrupt the sensory information your brain needs for balance. Wearing supportive, well-fitting shoes instead of loose slippers around the house is a simple change that provides a more stable base of support. Addressing this balance blind spot is not about preventing every stumble. It's about building a resilient system that can catch you before you fall. Now that we've covered these 7 crucial health truths, from the silent theft of muscle to the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet and the blind spots in your balance, take a moment to reflect on them. These aren't meant to be sources of fear, but sources of power. You have control. The narrative that aging is an inevitable, passive decline is a myth. These issues, sarcopenia, dehydration, polypharmacy, poor gut health, loneliness, inactivity, and poor balance, are not set in stone. They are challenges that can be met with knowledge and action. Small changes, consistently applied, make big differences. You've lived through enough to know that wisdom isn't just about what you know. It's about what you do with that knowledge. Each of these 7 truths is interconnected. Stronger muscles from fighting sarcopenia help improve your balance. Better hydration improves your cognitive function, helping you manage your medications more effectively. A healthier gut reduces inflammation, which benefits your entire body. And a strong social network provides the motivation and support to stay active and engaged. It's all part of the same beautiful, complex system, you. This is about choosing to be an active participant in your own health journey, to honor the body that has carried you this far, and to ensure that your later years are defined not by limitation, but by vitality, dignity, and joy. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.